Hello Year 3, this is your English video for Monday the 25th of January. Now our learning objective is to use setting description to set the scene. Now what we're going to do today, if you haven't guessed already, is that we're going to be creating our own story. Now if you look, we're going to be looking at the parts, the different plots that we made. So this is my plot that I made last week. It doesn't all fit on the screen, but we're going to be looking at this first part here. So it says that Stanley goes to spend a few weeks of his holidays at his Auntie Susan's house. Auntie Susan lives in the countryside where it's got luscious green grass, tall trees, and it's in an abandoned area. So what I've done below is I've created my first short piece of writing all about this part here, and I'll go over it again in a minute. There are some colours on it, some different highlights. Don't worry about them. I'll talk about them afterwards. Okay, so let's just read Miss Dunn's writing, what she's created. So before we do that, I have created a success criteria for today. Now we have these in class, so it shouldn't be a shock to you. So the first one is to include a setting description, and that includes adjectives and noun phrases. The next one is to have neat and legible handwriting, which means that it's neat enough that I can read it. It should be neat anyway, Year 3, shouldn't it? And the last one is to use various punctuation throughout. So once you know you've got those, you can write these down if you want, or you can just tick, 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 but that's what I'm going to be looking for in your writing today. So let's have a look at that actual piece that I've wrote. So, sunlight beamed through the car windows, whilst also reflecting from the silver paintwork on the Ford Escort. Stanley was travelling up north to visit his Auntie Susan, as his mother had to work during this school holiday. Stanley's auntie lived alone in the countryside with only a pampered pooch Paddy for company. At least Stanley had a little company and someone to play with whilst his Auntie Susan did the gardening. Early next morning, Stanley looked outside. It was glorious weather. The sun shone through the colossal trees in the wooded area. The luscious green grass stood. Oh, Miss Dunn's done this spelling mistake. What should I do there, Year 3? I'm going to change it and I'm going to purple pen it. Well done if you noticed that. The luscious green grass stood to attention in the field surrounding the house. However, a dark patch was peeping out of the trees. Stanley grew curious. He just had to know what was going on there. So, I don't know if you've noticed, but if we look right through the beginning, I've included a comma, I've included a full stop, and right at the bottom, I've included an exclamation mark. Okay, so I could tick my first success criteria off. The next part, what I've done is I've highlighted certain parts. Now, the yellow that I've highlighted is what I'd like you to use. Okay, so sunlight beamed through the car windows whilst also reflecting from there. And I'd like you to choose your own colour here. Paintwork on the Ford Escort. Now, you can choose your own car there too. Now, I've highlighted these names because these names in my story might be different to your story. So Stanley, you might use Stanley or you might use Emily. And I've got Auntie Susan, but I know some of you have got grandma, you've got granddad, you've got uncle, brother, sister. So you can all put your own different names in there. Now, it doesn't have to follow the exact path that I've done it, but I'd like to use the yellow bit, so the sunlight beamed. And then there's one further down for early next morning, Stanley looked outside. And what I'd like you to do, I do not want you writing any further than what I have done here. So I'm going to highlight this final bit. So it says he. Now, it might not be he, it might be she. So I'll do that in pink. But just had to know what was going on there. And I'd like to use that bit just to finish your story, okay? That chapter that you've done. Now, I've put a copy of this writing on the website so you can refer back to it if you want to use your ideas again. Use some of my ideas. You can magpie some of my ideas, which means copy them, but I don't want you to use them all because then it's my writing and not yours. Really, really think about what you're doing. take your time. If you need to write a bit and then have a break, because I know our hands hurt, and especially when we've been at home for such a long time. So you can write a bit and wait, and then write a bit and wait. But all this needs doing today, because tomorrow we're going to go on to the second part. Okay, year 3. Now I'll zoom out so that you can see it all on the page. So let me just zoom out. There you go. Oh, it's dancing. So you should be able to see all that now. So you could pause the video, or what you could do, you could have a look at the actual model right that's on the class page. Okay, I cannot wait to see all these amazing first parts. Good luck. Any problems, please just let me know, year 3, and I'll be on Class Dojo all day as normal. See you soon. Bye bye.